Hi, my name is Mike Plow, and I own a company called Caleb's Creations. We screen print all types of garments, t-shirts, bags, all kinds of stuff actually. The art of screen printing has been around for quite some time, and today we wanted to show you a brief overview for your Great American Teach-In, feature what we do in our business on a daily basis. Some of the other things that we do besides screen printing is embroidery. We sew, like this shirt here, for instance, is an embroidered shirt, and we also sell all types of promotional products. Basically, everything gravitates around graphics. Realistically, in your everyday life, you see signs and all types of things, whether it be a book cover, even the pages in the book are graphically designed. That's all thought up by somebody that has a passion for art and graphics. And I thought it would be a good thing today to actually just show you a little bit about the screen printing process, which incorporates a graphic, whether it be a custom design or some type of clip art, that we then go in and apply on the t-shirt. Caleb's Creations has been around for almost 11 years. I started 11 years ago. And it all started basically in the 9th grade. I was in Turkey Creek Junior High School, and I had an elective course, which back then we had all types of things to choose from, and one of them was screen printing. And I always enjoyed art and doodling and drawing, and I had set out somehow in my lifetime, sometime, I wanted to be a graphic artist. Life took me a different direction in the industrial world, but because I was passionate about it, I wanted to do it. Several years later, I was re-inspired to get back into graphics pretty much when computers came around in the early 90s. So that's my story on how Caleb's Creations was started, and today we're just going to show you briefly what it is, what screen printing is all about. A good design that we thought would be good to feature would be this one right here. We're actually working on this for Mason-Dixon's Christmas Wish. I'm going to show you how we go about getting the graphics actually onto the substrate, which this is just a test pattern, test Pellon's what this is called. But we're actually printing about 500 shirts today, and it's a good representation of what the capabilities are here at Caleb's Creations.
Now, as you can see here, we have all the films, or I think 3 of them. We want to inspect each film to make sure there isn't any irregularities on them, such as scratches in the area of the black that's on there that could cause problems when we expose the screens. And basically we just kind of take a look at each one and make sure they're all nice and crisp the way they should be. Then we line them all up together to make sure they line up. As you can see, we stack them and try to make sure the registration marks, those 3 little dots across the top, make sure they all line up properly. And that's about what it's going to look like once it's printed. Here's our light table with a film on the glass, and we wanted to show you how the light comes on underneath the glass, and the film is actually on top of the glass. And every place that's black that you see there on the film will not allow light to pass through it. The screens that we use actually are coated with a photographic type emulsion similar to Elmer's glue, that whenever the light comes up from the bottom, it will actually cause the emulsion to harden in the screen and not allow it to wash out with water. The areas that are black on the film will actually wash out with water once the screen's been exposed by the ultraviolet light. Here you can see the lights coming on, and it stays on for about 2.5 minutes, and once that process is complete, the light goes off, and we take the screen back to the washout area in order to run water on the screen so that the image or the stencil is actually burnt into it, which will then allow the ink to pass through the stencil, creating the design on the shirt. Next, we should see coming up here where we simulate washing out a screen. We already had this screen actually washed out. But normally we'd set it in the rack, spray water on it with a pressure washer, and any place that was black on the film is now, as you can see, burnt into the image, creating the stencil. The next step is to tape up the screens where there is no emulsion. On the edges there, we couldn't get all the way to the edge next to the wood, so we put strips of tape across there so that no ink can escape on the sides of the screen. And as you can see, that one's basically already taped up. And where each screen has to be taped like that, it's just part of the preparation of getting everything ready. And here's all the screens. There's the blue screen. And I believe that's the black with a little close-up there to show you what it looks like. All those yellow areas is where the ink will actually pass through and go onto the shirt. The next step in the process is to get the machine ready. Looks like here Austin's putting some palette adhesive on there so the shirts won't move around whenever he loads them. That's where the shirts load, right there. And each one of those has to be coated before we get started. It's a simple process. Basically, that's like a glue that goes on there, like Elmer's glue, watered down a whole lot. And that's like the press is all set up. We've got some shirts loaded on there, and we should be ready to get started pretty quick here. You can see the shirt move around as Austin pushes the foot pedal there. The machine goes through its cycle of flooding and printing, and in a moment you'll see it actually raise up, and there's Austin loading the shirts on. He has to make sure all the shirts are straight and in the same place before he pushes the foot pedal and moves it around. So you'll see him, as he loads the shirt, he checks the collar and he checks the sleeve length to make sure that it's equal on both sides. Pushes it forward, makes his checks. That's why when you get t-shirts, if they're printed correctly, you should see the image in the middle. See how I just put his fingers underneath there? He's checking the length of the sleeve on each side to make sure it's centered. And there's the final print. Now, the ink being plastic, it's basically doesn't dry. You can leave it sitting on the press for days at a time, and it won't dry out like paint will. This is actually going through a dryer now. You can see as it goes through this little hole there, there's some heating elements in there that gets the shirts up to 320 degrees and basically fuses the ink to the shirt. Just a few more pictures now of the press as it's doing what it does. And lifts up and gets ready to print another one. See how the shirt passes under and moves to the next color station. And the squeegee does its thing.